Hi, people. Welcome to the second day of the Great Australian Craft Show. I'm hoping I'm coming up live for you. Um, just going to get, I need to turn my volume down for starters. Just going to get the team over at Craft Alive to hopefully save this to their page. Hopefully. Should have done that before I started, shouldn't I? What time did I'm 3 minutes early anyway, so that's not too bad. And I've got my comments turned on my page. Let's get them going. How are we go? We had a brilliant first day yesterday, although my order that was supposed to show up yesterday didn't show up until like literally 5 minutes ago. He just walked away from my front door. So I've switched things up. We're going to do vellum this morning, and then we're going to go do ink blending techniques this afternoon, which should be fun. I love doing working with brayers and that sort of stuff. So let's get them to share. Would say talk amongst yourself, but we're not on Zoom. That would be great. Great. Okay. So, why did I just turn my phone off? I need to see comments. So, for those of you who haven't met me before, I did a bit of intro video over in the exhibitor hall. So my name's Wendy. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Brisbane. Been a demonstrator going into my 5th year. And I just love to make cards and I love to teach. So they're my two passions. And I'm at a stage now where I can do those pretty much part-time. In my other life, I work for a bank. I'm a data analyst, which is quite it's not too boring. It ticks all my OCD boxes, but it definitely is not where my passion lies. So today we're going to be making some cards using vellum. Vellum is I love working with vellum. If I could put vellum on every single card, I would, and the reason is I believe that it softens cards, and I'm not at all a girly girl, so I do struggle with flowers and stuff like that. I like my cards not to have too many flowers on it or too much volume. I still want to be able to put my cards in the post and mail them off. So vellum allows you to build bulk without too much volume, which is why I like it. It also looks great when it's embossed. It looks great when it's colored, inked, dry embossed as well as heat embossed. So I'm going to go over both of those techniques. Now, FYI, I don't have any samples, so we're just going to wing it. We are seriously going to wing it. I have in here what I want to show you, so hopefully it turns out. Normally, it's not too bad. So I'm going to be using Stampin' Up's vellum. Stampin' Up vellum is a cardstock vellum. So it's more heavy duty than some of the other, for want of a better word, some of the other cheaper brands of vellum. So it will hold up a lot better than probably some of the other vellums that maybe you've tried. I'm not sure what GSM it is, but it's quite durable and thick. I'm very heavy-handed. My husband always tells me all the time I'm very clumsy and heavy-handed, and I hardly ever rip it. So there you go. So I'm going to flip the camera, and we're going to get started on the first card, which I've basically cut most things out. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about how I attach vellum, what's the best way to attach vellum, what to look for in how you've used the vellum as anchor points, how to disguise where you're going to attach vellum, because everyone knows that if you put a bit of double-sided tape or glue, most of the time that will show through on the card that you're making. So we don't want that. We want people to think that our cards are super professional. So Just let me take this message. Excellent. Oh, whoops. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm actually coming up live on Facebook now, because the laptop crashed the other day when I was doing my Zoom meeting. There we go. Turn the volume down on that one and make myself look big so I can see it. All this technology that you have to know when you're doing this sort of stuff. So I'm going to flip the camera and we're going to get started. Probably going to be here for maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So grab a cup of coffee, some biscuits, and what was I talking about before? Oh, attaching vellum. So I'll talk you through how I attach vellum. I've got probably 3 or 4 things that I use to attach vellum. Tape is one, glue dots is another, spray adhesive is another, and glue itself using a dauber. So I'm going to show you all the ways that I attach vellum. And when you're finished, you should be able to work with vellum. Let's just go with that. All right, look away if you get car sick. Let's and spin. Oh, there's my Stampin' Up. There we go. That wasn't too painful. Alrighty. So, like I said, let me just get that out of the way. Make sure I'm coming up there. Get my zoom in. Okay, so obviously one of the first ways that you can work with vellum is to, and if you hear something in the background, I have tilers here, just for fun. So they may very well be cutting tiles in the background. Just getting that set up. Okay, cool. So the first way that I have used the vellum is to use a die. Just a straight up run-of-the-mill die. Put that there. Move this up. There's nothing special that you really need to do with when using vellum through a die cut machine. You obviously just need to make sure my plates are quite bowed. So I need to make sure that I put a shim in with them. And also you can just ask any questions too. They should pop up if you've got any questions while I'm doing it. I need to put a shim in just because my plates are quite bowed to make sure that it cuts out properly. So that's probably the only thing I would suggest when working with your die cuts through a machine. Working with your dies using vellum through a machine. Okay, so the first card that we're going to make, I specifically like edge dies for vellum. I think that it's, I mean, you can, obviously I have, these are not edge dies. I've cut out some little flowers as well. But I think edge dies look great with vellum. And hopefully this card will come together as I've envisaged in my head. I've just realised I don't have any ink out for my acrylic box. Oh, we're so professional over here. Not. You saw the state of my crafting, you'd probably die. Because I wasn't really sure. I mean, I know what I want to make, but I don't know what I want to make, if that makes sense. Let's get out an acrylic block as well. Okay. So using edge dies is another opportunity to use vellum in a different way, and things like these sorts of edge dies, lacy type ones, are beautiful when you're using vellum. So why is my camera blurry? Oh no, it's not too bad. Just went blurry there all of a sudden. So I have pre-cut that out of vellum. And as you can see, if that was, it's quite hardy in terms of none of it broke going through or anything like that. So we are now going to put together the card, and I'm working with, sorry guys, for those who know me, yep, I'm working with the Halloween paper again. I've got lipstick on my card. Let's flip it over. Righto. So going to use some foam dots when I can find them. I've seen some awesome videos over the last week with the last gearing up to the Great Australian Craft Show. It's been amazing. Not seeing any comments, so if you're commenting, oh, I've got some watches. Awesome. So the first thing, I've just cut myself a normal card base. I'm going to come along here and pop on some foam dots. Like I said, I haven't actually pre-made this card. And the reason I've done that on purpose, because I want to show you those that think it all has to be perfect and it's all got to go a certain way, and you can't sit down and craft until you've got this, that, and the other, and the planets are aligned and, you know, everything's hunky-dory. That is such a load, because if you think that the best crafters in the world don't make mistakes, I can tell you right now they do. And by no means thinking I'm a great crafter. So I'm just using our mini dots as well. Okay. So let's stick that down. Yeah, I can't believe the old Couriers Please showed up 2 minutes before I was going to go live with my brayers. Which I've used brayers before, but not actually foam ones. So I really wanted them to show up. Probably should put that on, shouldn't I? This is what I mean. It's good for you guys to see this whole process. It's not always smooth sailing. There. So I know that's got to come up from the bottom. That black's a little bit big, but we'll go with that. Going to cover up enough. Yep. All right. So I've just marked my black. Again, I am just going to stick the black straight on. I'm not going to pop it onto foam dots because I want there to be a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of difference between the top and the bottom. Okay. And this is glitter paper, which doesn't come off on your hands. It's awesome. Part of our Halloween. All this is actually part of our Halloween, except for the dies, obviously. Then that one will go on with just a normal border around. So you can see it's starting to come together a little bit. If you're one of my regulars, give me a like. Actually, you're probably all at work. I've got this week off, which is nice. Because, yes, I have another retreat on the weekend. Because, you know, as you do. Because 3 in 1 year is not enough, of course. I've just found that since we're allowed to, and sorry, I know some of you might be watching from Victoria, although your restrictions are lifting, so good work on that. Whoops. So my base card is a normal measurement. 14.9 by 21 and scored at 10.5. And then this top card is, what is it? 10 by 14.4. Now we're going to come in here. I freaked out then. I didn't think it was going to fit. Alrighty. So we've got our vellum. That's going to go over the top. Now, a couple of things here. I'm about to have a think about how I am going to adhere this vellum. So there are two ways I could probably do it. I'm going to come back in with shaped flowers. I'll find my shape. And of course, it's the only thing now that I can't find. Okay. I'm going to come back in with some shaped vellum flowers. So again, this is why our card, Stampin' Up! Cardstock is really good, and it's because if I was to do that with a cheaper version of vellum, I have no doubt it would it'd break. It wouldn't break, it would what's the word I'm looking for? It'd be crap. Just say that. All right. We're all friends here. So I'm just shaping these. I don't even know what that is. I've had it for years. Those of you who watched my intro video, you know I've been card making since I was 18. So it's about how long I've had that. Bit of a foam mat. Okay. Last couple flowers. Okay, so the issue as I'm sitting here thinking is I don't want the edges of this die cut piece to come away, and I actually want it to sit down in there. So I could put glue dots on those pieces, but it's not going to stop the edges from probably lifting up. So I'm probably going to use some spray adhesive, your best friend when it comes to vellum and when it comes to laser cut paper. Okay, so I'm just going to spray some of that. Let me do it off camera. Oh, I bet this is going to show through. You just need to be careful you're not working with some old spray. Mine's probably a little bit old, so you're probably going to see. Oh, it shouldn't be too bad. Now you also got to remember we're working with glitter paper. So that is coarse paper. Our local clubs just sent me a message. Join us tonight for trivia. Right, I'm going to quickly dry my hands off. Otherwise they're going to get sticky and yuck. When you leave your baby wipes open and they're not even, dare I say, that they've got no moisture left in them. Damn it. Okay. Righto. Just want to make sure those edges stick down. As much as I can. So it is a bit of a process. You've got to hold it down a little bit. You actually want those. And I may even have to come along at a later date with a little bit of glue underneath here and a sponge dauber to get them to stay down. Okay, so next I've got my flowers. I'm going to decide how I want to stick them. So you can see that the glitter sneakily comes through. Look at the glitter coming through, black glitter coming through there behind that vellum. Just beautiful. All right, how many of these little suckers do I want to put on? So I've got 3 different, so obviously the bigger one goes at the back. Oops, and that's going to help it stick down as well. I am probably going to have to. And this is why I want to show you this process, because you got to be able to adapt with what's going on. Like you might have something planned in your head, and then when it doesn't happen, you have a moment. Yes, I'm going to tell you right now, you can see the glue dots through this, but I'm not worried about that in the moment because there's things called bling, people. I bet you the Tyler outside is wondering who the hell I am talking to. He's going to think I'm a nut job. When my husband said that we're getting the back patio tiled, oh, they're doing it on this week, I was like, yeah, whatever. And then as the week got closer, I was like, shit, that's Great Australian Craft Show number 7. Ah, well. Okay, so let's put our little one on. If you've got mini glue dots, they're probably the best. I've got maxi, and it's probably not a great idea, but hey, for what I'm doing, it'll be fine. So I need a little one on there. You can see, yes, the edges have come up. So I am probably going to have to, and I'll show you how I'll fix that in a second. Oh, where's that little one going in there? And then I'm going to cover him up as well. Let's cover him up. That flower was probably too big for that one, but anyway. Medium size. Okay. It's probably a little bit. I wonder if I turn the light off if that's, no, turn that too dark over that side. But that's basically the flowers. Okay. I've got issues here and here. Straight away I can see that. So let's fix those up. And I'm going to use some if I can get it out of the damn can. Oh my God. I'm going to use a dauber, and see, this will be one of the techniques, so I can knock down 2 techniques in one go, showing you how to do this. Oh, have I got any comments? No. Okay. Let's go have a cup of tea. Everyone knows me, knows I'm a tea girl. So today, girls, it's Ruiboos and vanilla flavour. So it's like drinking vanilla flavoured dirt. All the good stuff here. We spare no expense. Okay. So all my ladies that come to class have got a silicone mat, because this is how I teach them how to do vellum. And if it's going to come out of the damn packet, that'd be handy. You know what? I should have went live. Should not have went live because nothing's working for me right now. Okay, well, I've got 4 viewers, so that's something. Okay, so a little bit of glue on there. Pick it up with your sponge dauber. And we're coming under here, and I'm going to pop some glue on here. Now, the reason I'm using a sponge dauber and not just directly is, again, I don't want you to see it. So, and then I'm going to go up the other end. So there, I just showed you 2 ways to adhere it on the one card. So we had the spray adhesive, and now we've got a glue and on our silicone mat, and a sponge dauber. I know some of you are just hanging around to see if this turns into a hot mess or if it actually works out. Have faith, people. Now what we're going to do is, yes, you can see the glue dots in here, okay? You can, but guess what we've got in the wonderful world of crafting? We've got some iridescent pearls, and these are black iridescent. So you can see what color theme I've got going on. I've got the pretty peacock with the vellum, the black glitter underneath, and now I'm about to use, you know what? Nothing is where I've put it today. It's just a hot mess, really. Isn't it? 100% just a big hot mess. So we will use our tool to get these off. How beautiful. They're just, one of my customers have said they're her most favorite thing. So when she put in a big order, I sent her a couple of these. So I'm going to put probably one. They're not, are they graduated? They're small and little. Oh, there are. 4 millimeters and 5 millimeters. So one's a tad smaller than the other. Although you really, that 1 millimeter you really can't see. So I might go for a small, bigger one. Now I will put pictures of the finished work up on my page so you can see actually what this card looked like, because the camera's not really doing it justice. And let's do some quick stamping. What do we want this to be, girls? What do we want it to be? Do we want it to be a birthday card? Itty bitty birthdays. I always go, you know what? I might go that one. Time to celebrate. You know me, girls. Those that come to my classes, it's always a toss-up between those 2 ones. Time to celebrate, and let's celebrate you. I know, I'm shocker. Shocker. Because I'm just going to use my punch and white cardstocks. I know some of you are hanging around to see if this comes together okay. Have faith. Faith. Stamping. Don't overthink your stamping, people. That's the one thing I always tell them. Tell my girls, do not overthink your stamping. It needs to go somewhere on the card. But I want it to come off. Do I want it to come off the edge a little bit? Maybe not. Yeah, actually I do. It's the biggest decision of my day is where to place things. It's great. Okay. I wish I could sit here and tell you about my upcoming Christmas Spectacular, which I can, but I've actually closed the bookings on it because I've just had such a huge response. So Actually, I think I quite like it there. So there you go. Finished card. I don't think you're going to see it, even if I bring it up close. Oh, you can. You can see those iridescent pearls. So again. Oh, Jill's here. Hi, Jill. Yes, the Dorba. So that's out the first card that I wanted to show you using Vellum. And where Vellum in this card is the main accent. So it's the main focal point. It's the centerpiece around the actual card. So that's our first card using Vellum. The second card I wanted to show you using Vellum, quickly just let me get this stuff out of the way. Actually, I'll probably need that silicone mat. So let's leave that one up there so you can partially see it. The second one is where we want Vellum to be. For example, you've got some pattern paper. You like, say, 6 of the bits in there, but not the other 6, right? You think it's too in your face, it's too bright, it's too bold. Let's talk about this stuff. This is the abstract paper. Now, I don't mind this paper. I quite like it. But if I wanted to give that to my grandma, she's going to think that that's very, like, in your face, very bold type paper. So I want to mute that. I want to still use that paper because I know she's going to love it, but I'm going to mute it down. Okay, so Vellum is amazing for doing that. So let's cut this up. We've got a standard card base here, people. So I'm just going to quickly cut this. You could even, you know, this, I'm not saying all grandmas would think that this was too bold, okay? Let's be clear, because I'm not offending the grandmas out there. I'm just saying, if you wanted to give this to someone, but you think they would think it was too much, too bright, too bold, too in your face, I'll show you what you can do to combat that, is this. So automatically you've gone from a card that's quite pinky and bold to something not so much. So what I would do, I cut that to fit. Okay, let's cut that down. We want it to be the same size. So that's 14.4 by 10. Now I'm just going to put my base card away. I'm just going to leave that one there for the first one we did, so you can see that. Okay. And again, you could also send this to a teenager. Let's put something together there. Let's get some ribbon. I don't have any pink ribbon, people. I'll sort that out in a second. Okay, so how am I going to adhere this vellum to this card front? I am going to use my silicone mat and my sponge dauber. Okay. You can wash this. I chuck mine in the dishwasher. So I'm going to put a bit of paper underneath. Probably that side. The idea with the sponge dauber is you're not having big globules of glue. Okay? You want to work quite quickly. Because you want to get it quite tacky. Mainly around the edges. We know that's where it lifts. So it's quite tacky now. Let's stick it on. Let's see if it worked. Glue everywhere, see? Here we go. No glue marks. None. No glue marks on vellum, people. And look at that. So then we could come in here. I will stamp a little something something on there. First I might wind around some. You just need to make sure that when you do glue it on, you're not slightly off. I'm slightly off up the top. And again, this is why I wanted to do this live for you, so you can see this. So I'm just going to trim this side back a little bit because it will play with my OCD if I don't. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I think we've got, I might do just one more card after this one. And then if I've got some time later on this afternoon, I'll jump back on and show you colouring vellum, how I choose to colour, or how I was shown how to colour vellum, and I think it works really, really well. And I put in an order last night and I forgot to order foam dots. Okay. So again, I've got no marks. I know you guys probably can't see that real well, but I've got no glue marks, no glue dots, nothing on there. Okay? Trust me, it's a game changer. You start using sponge daubers and your silicone mat, or any silicone mat, and a little bit of glue. Okay, I'm going to stick that on and that on. And I may come back and pop a ribbon on there. I'm just not sure. That paper's quite busy underneath. Let's have a look. What stamp set are we going to use? Stamp, girls. What stamp? Something a little bit funky. Something that's going to take up a bit of room too. These are the moments we look backwards with joy. Yep. Now, if you wonder what I'm doing on here, I am lining my stamp up so that I know, idiot Wendy, so that I know when it goes on my acrylic block, it's actually straight. So that if it stuffs up, it's me, it's not. So let's put this on there. Don't you hate that? And that's not straight. See, I'm too far over that side. But we're going to work with that. So that again, that's a finished card. I will attach that, maybe put a bow on it. Maybe some gems as well. So that's that one. The key here, people, is no glue marks on my vellum. Okay, I'm going to show you probably the last card today. And that is, again, where we've embossed with vellum. And then I want to show you a couple of things that just came out of the box. Literally just arrived. Let me get rid of that. And I am going to attach that probably with spray adhesive, only because it's not a flat base. Like it's got some movement there. So let me just cut my card base. And I'm using mint macaron because I love it. I've got a friend who says that. I love it. I'm using it because I love it. It's like, that's what we want, people. Can't believe I just did that. So I'm just going to make sure my paper's square. If ever you've got your paper's not square, like you've cut it and then you've folded it like this, and you've got a bit down here, that's because your paper wasn't square to start with. So I always make sure that my A4s are 21 centimeters by, well, I always cut my 14.9 first, and then I make sure that it's 21 centimeters so that I know that that's going to be square. Okay, so I've used the tin tile embossing folder for this one. And this is another reason why Stampin' Up's vellum cardstock is awesome, and it's because it hasn't cut through. So some of the cheaper vellums will cut through all the time, like as my kid would say, every day, all the time, every day. And I'm like, yeah, all the time, every day. Okay. So it's not probably coming up on camera very well, but I'm going to stick that on mint macaron. And I am going to spray adhesive it. Okay, so again, good quality spray adhesive you can get from a good craft store, which I'm sure there's plenty available around Craft Alive right now. You do want to hold it kind of, I don't know, maybe 15, 30 centimeters away. And then you want to hope it doesn't spurt out like this one is. So this one's not really spraying, it's actually I think it's because I've had it a little while as well. But again, even with it spraying globules on there, which it just did, I've only got one vellum mark, which is up here, one glue mark. So it's a good option, people. Okay, so we've stuck that down. I'm going to come along here. I'm going to use the Lovely You set because I love it. And I have cut up my flower. Don't have a coronary. I have cut up my flower. Because sometimes you want the base to be green and the top to be another colour. And that's okay. So I want Petal Pink or Blushing Bride. Oh, Blushing Bride. Okay. I don't know where my other acrylic book books are. That's all right. Okay. Just about finished, guys. Like I said, I might come back on later this afternoon and I'll do a bit of thing on how I colour them. Okay, so that's going to come off the edge. No pressure when you're stamping, people. You know the rules. Well, you do if you come to my classes. I'm just going to stamp and see if that's, yeah, that's the colour I want. Always make sure you stamp onto another bit of paper first. I'm just going to take that one off so I can see what I'm doing. Like I said, I have cut mine. Don't freak out. If your stamp isn't what you want, you can cut it. There's no rules that say you can't. Let's get that out of the way for a second. It's a bit off lopsided, but you get the picture. And then maybe something like You're My Person. I've been trying to use that one for weeks. No, still too big. Haven't found anything to use it with. Let's cheer you up, smile, wildly grateful. That's a good one. I use that all the time. Maybe I might use that one, wildly grateful. No, they're just too big. Okay, it's going to be smile, people. Bit of ink. Lovely. For those of you that have just joined us, if anyone's just joined us, we're working with Vellum today or this morning. Okay. So I'll probably put that down in the corner. That glue that was showing up there has actually faded since it's dried. So I might put that on something or other and maybe a bow. So that's basically it. 3 different ways of using vellum. Obviously you can use punches as well, and the same thing would apply to how I've made that card. That's it. So thanks for joining me for my first Facebook Live here on for the Great Australian Craft Show. And I'll come back during the day and finish these off and post you, and you can see what I did with them, and you can have a nice up look close of the fact that, you know, there's no vellum on show, or no glue showing through there, no glue showing through there, and no glue showing through there, which is what I wanted to show you. The other thing too was Stampin' Up's cardstock vellum is probably the best that I've ever worked with, and I've worked with a few. But we also have things that if you don't want to pre-cut yourself, so if you don't want to cut it yourself, we have some pre-cut vellum doilies, which are just beautiful. They just arrived, thanks to Couriers Please. And we have the very new and gorgeous flock vellum, which also just arrived. So this has got, it's not even a felt, it's flock. So for those of you who've been around in the craft world for a little while, we used to get jars of flock, which I loved. I had like 3 or 4 colors. So this is actually vellum flock. So again, it's a nice durable cardstock vellum, and you've got some poinsettias there and some random things. So that was the other thing I wanted to show you for working with vellum. Awesome. Thanks for sticking around, for those that stuck around for a little while, and tune in back with me later. I'll be doing ink blending techniques using brayers and good old blending brushes. These little babies. Thanks, guys. See you later.